Professional athletes are ignored for mistakes that they make. They may have done something wrong, but the fact that the NBA hires them, it also brings some negativity to the entire league. While the league tries to keep a nice image, there are some memorable events that have happened in the past that would make you feel shocked. In today's video, we are going to list down top 10 NBA scandals. So without any further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Gilbert Arena brings guns. As a member of the Washington Wizards, Gilbert Arenas pulled out 4 guns on his teammate Javaris Crittenton and asked him to select one. Crittenton had even threatened to shoot him after losing a card game to JaVale McGee and declaring it as a misdemeanor. The NBA caught wind of this situation, and Arena was canceled for most of the 2009 to 2010 season because of handgun violations and for other actions that appeared to make light of this incident. This also marked the onset of his downfall from stardom. The Wizards' statement didn't disclose how the club officials found out that Arena was storing weapons, but private ownership of firearms was illegal in Washington during that time. Number 9. Ron Artest's attack. There is no worse sportsmanship moment than when a whole arena turns into a coliseum full of gladiators. What started as a usual hard foul on Ben Wallace from Ron Artest ended up in one of the worst fights in the history of the NBA. The fans did not accept it, and the actions of one fan who threw plastic cups at Ron Artest really annoyed him and prompted him to go up in the stands to attack that particular fan. What followed was a complete meltdown of security that resulted in an all-out brawl at the Palace of Auburn Hills. It was quite unbelievable to see professionals exchanging blows with fans during jeers and flying objects aimed to harm. The influence of this mishap is not only restricted to the NBA alone. Other sports, concerts, and expos also took a lot of reminders from the crackdown the NBA did on security. Number 8. Michael Jordan's gambling issues. As great as Michael Jordan was, his drawback was also extremely great, which involved gambling addiction. Rumors started coming out about Michael Jordan's gambling issues, and the media was pressuring the NBA to investigate it. The NBA never acted, and it ended up being a PR stunt. Michael Jordan was the most famous athlete in the world, and the NBA was also peaking in terms of coverage around the world and how prominent it was becoming. Investigating its biggest star and maybe suspending him would have damaged the real image of Jordan and the NBA. Well, conspiracy theorists still say that David Stern sat down with Michael Jordan and told him to take time off while the stories die down. Number 7. Derrick Rose scandal. In early October, the NBA blew up on the news that Derrick Rose will find himself in another court case, encountering a $21.5 million lawsuit filed by an unidentified former lover who claims Rose and his 2 friends assaulted her in 2013. A federal jury cleared Rose and his 2 friends of rape in a civil trial that put the legitimate definition of consent under scrutiny. His accuser was portrayed as a sexually adventurous gold digger, despite her tearful testimony that she had been assaulted. Derrick Rose had just been traded to the New York Knicks, and the case delayed his debut with his new team. Number 6. Tim Donaghy gambling scandal. Tim Donaghy is a former professional basketball referee who was present in the league from 1994 to 2007. His term was considered controversial when he took his gambling too far and was forced to resign pending an FBI investigation. He kept on gambling and tried to fix NBA games that he bet on, while he was assigned by the league as a referee. Donaghy also claimed that there was an institutional fixing of games by the NBA. especially the popular 2002 final series between the Kings and the Lakers. This was also among the worst officiated games in history, as the Kings fans always complain about it. According to the former commissioner David Stern, the Donaghy matter is an isolated case. It's the most serious situation and the worst situation that he has ever experienced. Donaghy pleaded guilty on August 15, 2007, to 2 felony charges of conspiracy. This was one of the worst instances for a sports fan. If you are liking this content so far, please consider subscribing and liking this video. Now, let's continue. Number 5. Len Bias's demise. Len Bias was portrayed as a generational and once-in-a-lifetime talent. It's quite painful that we'll never know how his professional career would turn out. After expressing much promise in his college basketball career, Len turned pro and was selected as the 2nd pick in the 1986 NBA draft by the Boston Celtics. This was expected as the move that would help them transition into the post-Larry Bird period. However, 2 days later, the 22-year-old was declared dead from cardiac arrhythmia, induced by a cocaine overdose. The NBA even started a drug awareness program for young players because of his demise. Number 4. Tom Donaghy 2006 NBA Finals match fixing. In the best-of-7 game, the Dallas Mavericks were up against the Miami Heat in the 2006 NBA Finals and were smashing the Heat in Game 3, before the tables were turned by the referees. Tom Donaghy, the disgraced, controversial referee, revealed after serving his sentence, he was found guilty of match fixing. Later on, Donaghy said, "I think Dallas basically got screwed out of a championship in that situation, because the NBA started to manipulate the series to make sure it was extended, and Dallas could never recover from it." Let's not forget, at the time, Ed Rush was the supervisor of officials, and he disliked Mark Cuban's guts. He completely hated Mark Cuban. Well, that's a tough pill to swallow. Number 3. Donald Sterling. When the Los Angeles Clippers were enjoying their face-off against the Golden State Warriors in the 2014 playoffs, Donald Sterling had other plans to execute. He was recorded by his mistress, V. Stiviano, of African-American and Mexican descent, while making racist comments about other black people. Stiviano had shared a picture of herself with Magic Johnson on Instagram. The picture annoyed Donald Sterling, and he even put his words out of his chest. Sterling said, "It bothers me a lot you want to broadcast that you're linking with black people. Do you have to? You can sleep with black people, you can bring them in, and you can do whatever you want. The little I ask you is not to promote it on that, and not bring them to my games. I'm just saying, in your lousy Instagrams, you don't have to have yourself walking with black people. Don't put Magic on Instagram for the world to have to see so they have to call me. And don't bring him to my games." The Clippers were getting ready for the playoffs, but clearly not for this drama. However, they took care of the short-handed Warriors in the first round. Meanwhile, Sterling had prompted a national outcry. Players in the NBA united against his comments by wearing their jerseys inside out and forcing the NBA's hand in the matter. Donald Sterling was banned from the NBA for life and fined $2.5 million. He was also forced to sell the team for $2 billion to Microsoft's Steve Ballmer, and the terms of the settlement were kept as a secret. Number 2. Kermit Washington punches Rudy Tomjanovich. Rudy Tomjanovich will be remembered for his "don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion" quote. He led the Houston Rockets in back-to-back championship wins in 1994 and 1995. During his playing years, he was a victim of a life-threatening attack from Kermit Washington. While fighting had always been considered as a part of basketball, what happened to Tomjanovich redefined his career. In 1977, a fight broke out during a game between the Houston Rockets and Los Angeles Lakers. As Rudy was moving to separate players who were involved in it, Kermit Washington tossed a punch at him. It has been described as the greatest punch in the history of mankind that got hit on Tom Jonovich's head. Number 1. Kobe Bryant alleged rape case. When Kobe Bryant started his career, he was a rising star and had a huge respect for the game. He was also regarded as one of the best players in the league. But in 2003, Kobe got accused and arrested for his sex scandal in Eagle, Colorado, which happened soon after his knee surgery. The case was later dismissed after the accuser declined to testify. However, the humbling accusation changed people's opinion of him as a person. He was even dropped by Adidas. Well, his haters still call him a rapist and do everything to damage his greatness. With that being said, it's time to end today's video. Press the like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stuff. Peace out.